All right. Well, we're back. My business for the day is done. I have at least a 4-hour broadcast to do if I want. And I thought, well, I'll change up my camera angle and show off this 20 that's looking brilliant, I might add. And we'll kind of take it from there. So we'll see who we get, what kind of entertaining conversation we can get into. Grab your coffee, grab your imagination, and let's shoot the breeze about our reef tanks and life in general, I guess. Obviously, somebody swam through that torch and pissed it off, as usual. Damn fish. Why you got to be so pretty? Otherwise, I wouldn't have you in my tank. Slow start to the day. Oh well, that's all right. I was running earlier. Things were going well. Anyone dropping in? This is just a mishmash of whatever. There's no specific topic, nothing in mind. If you got a question, feel free to ask. If I don't know, I'll find someone that does. So let's face it, we can't know everything there is to know about the hobby. So, oh, we got a thumbs up. That's always awesome. Appreciate that. Engage looking good. My tank's looking pretty good, actually, overall. I'm pretty happy. I got the algae under control. Seem to have most of the nutrients under control. Looking forward to starting up a bonsai reef, we're going to call it. So it's going to be a 5-gallon tank with a Reefer Miracle Mud base with some sand over top to facilitate nutrient export and control. I'm going to bubble it as well. And I'm going to be running a small hang on the back as sort of a refugium slash heater equipment holder. And we're going to see what we can do with this. It's going to kind of be to scale. So that's the whole idea behind that. And I'm really kind of looking forward to that. That's going to be a really interesting take on things, I think. Kind of a slow day. I got a buddy of mine just ordered a 3D printer. I'm sure that will cost me if I want something made. Be interesting to see what he makes with that. Actually, he's quite the reef keeper himself. I guess as well, there is a link there if you want to drop into the Hangout and ask a question in person or just chat away. Feel free to do so. Oh, got a cough apparently. Excuse me. Hey, Rob, how you doing? There we go. Just fixing a few things up there. There we go. Awesome. How you doing today, Rob? We're live again. There we go. Yeah, so get a couple people in. It's always cool. We'll see where the afternoon takes us. Evening for those in the UK. Thanks, bud. It wasn't as hard a work as you might think. I would never tell anybody it's easy, but it's not hard either. I'm definitely a proponent. There are so many ways to skin a reef, as I like to say. And I am really kind of looking forward to kind of growing this channel anyway. So I do really appreciate the fact that you saw that and you care to mention on it. I do. Where you hail from, Rob? I never really got to talk to you. I saw you pop in a couple of times. I do remember the name. Where do you hail from? I'm going to feel like it's a UK person because you said mate, but I could be thoroughly wrong because I know guys who say that here where I am in Canada. May have just been a pop in for a thumbs up. I'll take that as well. Geez, not a lot going on in my world today. It's a 20-gallon long, so it's 30 inches by 12 by 12. It's been up and running since about the beginning of February, mid-February. Bear with me just for a sec, folks. I'm at my door. There we go. Not a big deal. Actually, it wasn't for me. Although they always forget my neighbor's the one that gets the water delivered. I make my own, thanks. My clowns seem to have calmed down for the day, too. They're no longer fussing and feuding. He's staying where she wants him. You're just looking to get into saltwater? That's cool. That's absolutely kind of my bread and butter thing, too, is helping as best I can with getting into the hobby for the first time. I do. If you can go... How would I put it? You can go nano. The only problem with nano, so nanos being 5 gallons and above, to about anywhere from 40 to 60. You'll get varying takes on that. So I always like to tell people, if you can go big and you have the room, and you want to go sumped. Now, sump for me literally is just a place to put the equipment, right? So if you don't mind looking at the equipment in the tank, And a lot of people don't. I started off that way. Actually, still have shots of the first tank I ever did for almost 4 years ago. It's kind of a that's the motivation, I think, for a lot of people, right? And then it comes down to cost. So it really comes down to what you're looking to spend, because you don't have to spend a lot. There's certain things that are always going to be the same price across the hobby: your sand, your rock, that kind of thing, and all the various choices you're going to make there. But as far as wildlife, then it comes down to what do you want to have in the tank. So my first question is always, what kind of fish are you looking to get? And research is good, sir. €2,000 plus fish. Okay. So do you know what size tank you were roughly thinking of then? Because there's quite a few tanks in that price range. In fact, there's a few people that I can put you in touch with through here. And I'm going to guess you're in the UK. I'm going to guess. But you said euros, so there's a good possibility you're on the continent. But what I can do is get you in touch with Nick, who under the chat here will come up as Aquarium Cabinet Solutions, and he can really kind of hook you up, right? Put you in touch with the right people, and let you make a really well-informed choice on your tank and make you much happier with that first tank. I'm going to warn you, everybody gets into the first one and wants the next one. If things go well, it's when things go bad that you start to see people not want to be involved in the hobby anymore. And that's the thing you have to learn to kind of not brace yourself, but learn to deal with, right? Things are going to go wrong. This tank did not look like this like a month ago. There was so much hair algae on that rock. I probably have people that were thinking, yep, that's done. He's going to tear that down, and not at all, right? You can easily do that. You're living in Italy, but you're English. I definitely can help you out with that, Rob. I couldn't say for sure when Nick's going to be on, but I will kind of drop your name to Nick if you're not around, so that he can kind of keep an eye out. He's a busy fella. Aquarium Cabinet Solutions, I think, has a website. Let me double check. I thought he did. He does. There we go. So, and he may have access to something that you might want to do. Now, is that going to come up as a 404? It comes up for me. See if that link works for you. And let me know if it works. And if it does work, make sure that you do the contact thing through email. I'll try to remember. I should be able to. I actually made a note for you. And what we'll do is just tell them that Craig from Reefer Madness sent you. And just kind of give him a brief outline of what you're trying to do, that you want to spend X amount. And he can point you in many directions, whether it's through him, right, that he has something, or use something, or knew something. He'll hook you up. He is busy, so don't take offense if it takes a day or two, but I'll see what I can do to boot that along, as it were. Now, on a 250 liter, so that'd be like a 54-ish gallon tank. That like you could get a Red Sea Reefer that size. A sec here. Sorry, I'm fighting off a cold here. So, I'm not sure what a Red Sea Reefer 250 costs, but for happiness with your tank, that's the stand, the sump, and the tank. Really good price. Actually, let me see, just for fun. Red Sea. I'm just curious what they're costing in Europe right now. So that's Sweden. There we go. Europe. That's funny. It's coming up in SEK. There we go. Someone just popped in my Hangout.
That's me.
That's you, Rob.
It's Rob Sampson. See.
Hey, Rob.
How you doing?
Not too bad, brother. So a Red Sea Reefer is a really good tank. They really are. I know quite a few people that have the 250 and the 350 and whatnot. It's a good starter tank is the best way to look at it. So it comes with everything right off the top, including the ATO, so the automatic top-off system for it, which is gravity.
Is all hang on the back system or is separate?
That's separate. So you'll actually be able to put your equipment in your sump.
Ah, good.
So look up Red Sea Reefer 250 and then get it priced accordingly. I'm seeing 11,045 SEK. So I'm guessing that's Swedish kronons or chrono, whatever.
Yeah.
But let's see.
There's so much contradictory information out there. It's quite difficult to know where to start. No.
It very much is, yeah. And look who just popped on. Reef Community Worldwide just went up. So my stuff's not going out again, buggers. That's all right.
I've been watching a lot of your guys' streams for a while now. So it's good to finally speak to some people.
Oh, absolutely, man. We're always more than happy to have new people in too, right? So whether it's me or Paul at Reef RCW, or Michael from Aaron's Aquarium.
So yeah, I've been watching Michael's Aquarium for something like 6 months, so I'm pretty much got most of the information, but it's never enough. It's better to always do more research than less, no?
So it absolutely is, right? The more research you do up front, you're kind of more braced and ready for stuff. In pounds, $8.99 for a Reefer 250.
How much?
It's showing me £8.99.
That is a good price for this size tank, no?
Yeah, that's decent. That's a Reefer though. So like I'd still tell you to speak to Nick. Just because Nick will, if he's got something as good in that style. So if you told him you're looking for something like a Red Sea Reefer 250, do you know anything or anywhere I can look, or do you have anything? He'll let you know. Yeah.
But all these tanks are coming pre-drilled, no, for the sump and everything.
Correct. This tank would be pretty much take it out, set it up, put it. It's kind of like an IKEA, the stand. Put it all together with the instructions. Set the tank on top, put the sump on the bottom, run the plumbing. You're done, and it's all done.
What would you recommend for a starter tank, as in fish? Corals. I'm thinking just to start maybe with softies, or I'm going to only go fish only. Bare bottom, I don't think so. I think I'm going to go with some sort of substrate, but I'm not sure yet how to start with.
All you need to
making the jump from fresh water to salt water is quite big,
It is. The thing to remember is you're dealing with salt water, but evaporation is fresh water, right? So what you put back in the tank,
you're topping off with fresh water.
With fresh water, in your budget,
RODI fresh water, no?
You got it. Yep. Make sure you have an RODI unit, right? That'll make your life a whole lot easier. Keep your tank a whole lot cleaner. And the next thing is lighting. Lighting's the real bastard, right? That's the part. That's the one that always gets everybody, because a good light will cost you. You know what I mean? There's just no way around it.
Are you thinking T5s or LEDs?
I like LED. It's easier. They last a little longer, and they're more controllable. But I love T5 for the spread, right? So you can cover the whole tank a lot cheaper. Yeah.
For beginners, the T5s are easier to set up now, because I've been reading quite a lot onto the LEDs about changing the spectrum.
Don't even let that get you. That's almost a gimmick, right? If you have the LED, then it's there, and you'll eventually get the hang of it, and they come kind of preset up. So you don't have to go crazy with that. That's the easy part. When it comes down to T5, Now it's spectrum. You do have to. It's still more the preference for what you're looking at. ATI bulbs doesn't really matter as long as you get one of what we call the daylight lights, so the Coral Plus or the Aqua Blue Special, and then add other lights to it. You're pretty much set. Like on that size,
Aqua Blue Special
is the ATI bulb. That's the daytime light. Yeah, the full spectrum light.
Okay. I'm just writing this down as I go, so give me a second.
I should say that's the bulb, T5HO bulb. Yeah.
CC. Yeah, I got you.
But if you buy yourself a fixture that fits on a 250, and you want to go, it'll probably be a 4-bulb fixture, right? I would probably go with 2 Aqua Blue Specials and 1 Aticnic, if not 2. And what most people are doing is 1 Aticnic and a Blue Plus.
How do you spell that? Aquatechnic?
Actinic. So A-T.
See?
Yeah. A-C-T-I-N-I-C. Actinic. Yeah.
C-C. Okay.
Or actinic. You can say it whichever way you want, right?
Yeah, C-C. Yeah,
and then the other one, and another one people go with because they love the blue look is the Blue Plus. Yeah.
Okay. And both of those are T5. For the LEDs, what's your recommendations for the LEDs?
No, I went
roughly. At the moment, I'm still. It depends if I'm going to go for if I'm going to go to aquarium cabinet solutions, or if I'm going to try and maybe search secondhand. Because I'd rather spend the money on good lighting and good pumps, and maybe buy an aquarium secondhand, no?
Yeah, you could do that as well, right? Especially if you understand what you're doing already. Right? The reason I recommend the Red Sea Reefer, if you don't.
I really.
Right, if you don't.
I really don't.
Right. So the only issue I've ever seen with the Red Sea Reefer stuff is a lack of a refugium. So it's a sump. Yep. Remember, a sump is just where your water goes and goes back out. So the trick to kind of remember with that is that if you want a refugium, there's things you have to give up to put the refugium in.
Right.
The big thing is to get a skimmer that fits well, right? And you'll get all the specs on the Red Sea Reefer are there, so you can actually figure out what fits, and then talk to everybody too, and they can say this is a good size, this is a good size. You want to overfiltrate if you can. It's better to have it and not need it than need it not have it, right? That's always the way I do everything, right?
So you try to be over prepared rather than fucking under.
Right, exactly. If you're underprepared for it, or whatever the case is, right? So it's not necessary, but if you were to do that, the light I really like is in the price point is the AI Prime.
AI Prime.
Now that's on something 250. That the 54-gallon tank, and AI Prime is fantastic for what it is, right? And I do believe you'd only need 1, maybe 2, and they're like $300 here in Canada. So they're something similar over there. They're like a couple €100, right?
200 euros, something like this. So.
Yeah, and they'd be well worth the money because they're fully controllable.
Okay.
Right, full control, right? And they're well cooled, and they got a good warranty. So if they blow out, AI is pretty good at covering them. I use this tank.
They're available pretty easily in Europe as well, no?
Oh yes, AI is extremely available. Ecotech and AI, yes they are. Yeah.
Okay.
Now I use Chinese LED black boxes, right? That's what you're seeing here is me. This is me. I did this. I bought the black box, made a couple of LED swaps, so just the diodes. And I set this up, and that cost me about $140 plus my LEDs, another $30. Yeah.
Sweet.
But that's a little different, right? You know what I mean? If you're good with a soldering iron and you understand what you're doing, you can do this easy enough. But if you're not, wouldn't recommend it. They work right out of the box, though. They really do. They work right out of the box. And if you want to see what they, what they're capable of, check out Malev's Reef and the tour he does with a buddy's tank. That guy's using 4 of them on a huge tank, right? So it's pretty kind of cool to see them working that way.
I also got quite a lot of information from what's the website? BRS? No, BRS. No.
Yeah, BRS TV. They're.
What do you think of their information? Is pretty good.
Pretty good. Yep, they're pretty good. They do tend to.
I know they're a big I know they're a big website and they're a big company, so they can do a lot of things that other people can't. You know,
That's true, but they do tend to
with the funds they've got available.
Yeah, they do tend to lean on their sponsored stuff, though.
Right.
So you got to take that with a grain. But we're talking about ecotech and AI is who they're leaning at. So I'm okay with that. That's good equipment, right? So.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you have any for skimmers? Is there any good place to start looking? I suppose it depends on if you're going to go for a sump or without the sump. No.
If you're going to go without a sump, you're going to be doing hang on the back.
Yeah.
I like the Reef Octopus BH 1000 and 2000 personally for hang on the back. Reef Octopus. Yeah.
Okay.
I also have a hang on the back coral box in this one, but it's down in my sump. So it can be an in sump or a hang on the back. It's got the facilities on it to do both.
Yeah.
I love that thing. That thing's working like a charm, like a total champ. But I have a Reef Octopus Super 2000 in my big tank. This is just my little tank. I have a 120 gallon as well. Oh.
Jesus. See. See, I'm still indecisive about where to start because the nano tanks, you have a little less. How do you say? You have a little less. If something goes wrong, you don't have so much time to repair it. No.
Correct. Yeah. The problem you got to remember with small tanks, so 60 gallon and below, is you don't
your water
have
diameter start to fluctuate. You've got to be pretty on top of it. No.
Yeah, I would watch what you're doing. Right. Keep it simple in the beginning.
Right.
Softies are a good way to go, but softies have their own inherent issues as well. But it's more forgiving. So fish don't really care, right? As long as you don't let the salinity creep too high and you got a lid on your tank and whatnot, then make sure you get a lid because fish like to jump. They do. I've lost a few fish to jumps. I know people who've lost a lot of fish to jumps. So I had a tang jump and they never jump. So
what's the I've also read that there's a reason. What's the reason that they don't put the lids on tanks? Is for to get nitrates or something into the water, or
oxygen? It's for oxygenation. Yeah. So what it is, you got to remember.
But the lids aren't completely sealed. There's still oxygen getting inside. No.
There's a net on the top. Okay. Usually it's like a net, and it just stops them from popping out. They just hit the net and pop back in the tank, right? So. Yeah.
Okay, man. It's been good. Good to have some good advice because going from freshwater, where everything's pretty simple. No, it's pretty much I've just got a freshwater planted tank. It's not really planted to a maximum, but just got freshwater, 3 angels, and some other guppies and stuff like this.
Right.
To go into the saltwater, but it's quite plain though. The freshwater, the colors aren't really there.
No, that's why people always end up going saltwater is color.
I was thinking, discus, but I don't really like the discus.
No, I don't like the look of them. Personally, not a freshwater fan myself. No. Well, listen, I'm going to cut down, Rob. RCW's up. Do you got Reef Community Worldwide saved on your YouTube? Can you hear me?
Yeah, man. Still just a phone call. Sorry. 2 seconds. Now?
There you go. There you go.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah. So what you do is I'm going to drop and because Reef Community Worldwide's up and running. So look, if you don't have them, head on over. That's Paul and the boys from Britain. So I didn't know he was going to be up, and he didn't get notified I was already running, obviously. So I am going to drop to basically head over there. All right.
Okay. Reefer, I'll be on later. I've got to go and cook my dinner. Then,
absolutely.
I should be on later.
Yeah, look for Reef Community Worldwide. If it's not up, look for me. All right?
It's good to speak to you. Thanks for the advice.
No, thanks for dropping in, man. Always appreciate it. Always love people dropping in. So
thank you very much. I'll see you in an hour or so.
Sounds good. You take care.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Cheers, man. Thanks.
No problem.